That moment is not in the future, it is here. It arrives the instant you dare to believe that you are worthy of what you seek. Your victory is not crawling toward you, it is racing. What you asked for has heard you. What you imagined has shaped itself in the unseen and now moves toward the visible world. Get ready. Your time has come. Victory is not the result of effort alone, but of consciousness. You rise not by what you do, but by what you know yourself to be. When you stand inwardly as the victor, the world cannot deny you the experience of your victory. The outer world is a mirror. It reflects the shape of your inner belief. If you desire it, you are meant for it. The desire itself is proof of possession. You are not chasing your victory is chasing you. Every moment you spend in faith draws it nearer. Every moment you spend doubting pushes it away. So choose the inner conversation that lifts you. Speak to yourself as the one who has already crossed the finish line. Your greatest power is invisible. You do not need to wait for signs. You are the sign. You do not need permission. You are the permission. Close your eyes and feel the fulfillment of your wish. Step into the scene where you are already celebrating, already rising, already living the dream you once ached for. Feel it as if it is done and life will follow. The world around you is changing even now. People you have never met are being positioned for your breakthrough. Doors you have not touched are preparing to open. Opportunities you did not see are arranging themselves like stars forming a constellation. It is not your job to figure out how, it is your job to know. To stand firm in the truth that the unseen is more real than what your eyes can show you. The invisible is the parent of the visible. What you feel now, you will hold soon. Get ready. Your victory is coming fast. Life is not delaying you, it is preparing you. Every challenge you have faced was a shaping, a sharpening, a preparation for the moment you step into the abundance that has always been yours. The struggle was not punishment. It was proof of the treasure waiting for you. Your time has come. Breathe with the confidence of someone who has already won. Walk with the posture of a person who carries destiny in their chest. Speak with the voice of a winner. Think thoughts that open pathways. Hold visions that melt limitations. There is a divine momentum behind you now. What felt stuck is breaking open. What seemed impossible is becoming ordinary. Your name is being whispered in rooms you have never entered. Your blessings are traveling faster than your doubts. Get ready. Your victory is no longer distant. It is near, it is close, it is yours. It is not something you will chase. It is something you will welcome. Stand in the end and let the world catch up. Your time has come. Imagination is the seed of reality, the silent force from which every visible experience is born. Before anything becomes form, before it can be touched, seen, or measured, it begins as a thought, a feeling, an inner picture held with conviction. What you dare to imagine already exists in the unseen, waiting to be invited into the physical world through your belief. Imagination is not fantasy or escape. It is a creative instrument. The chair you sit on, the home you live in, every invention humanity has ever known, all of it began inside someone's mind. The outer world is nothing more than imagination, crystallized through faith. The act of believing is what brings imagination into form. Belief is the bridge between invisible desire and visible experience. When you imagine something with sincerity and accept it as real within, you plant a seed in the fertile soil of consciousness. Just as a seed is not visible under the ground, but is busy drawing nutrients, rooting itself, and preparing to break through the surface, your imagined reality is growing unseen. It may look like nothing is changing, but everything is changing. The moment you accept the reality of your desire within, creation begins. Imagination works through feeling, not effort. You can think about something 1,000 times, but if it remains a distant idea, it cannot grow roots. When you step into the state of having it already, when you feel the joy, relief, confidence, and fulfillment of its completion, you activate creation. Feeling is the language of the universe. Feeling is the secret ingredient through which imagination becomes destiny. Many people imagine what they want, but they also imagine fear, failure, rejection, limitation. They let old memories and past disappointments shape their internal conversations. Yet every inner conversation is prophecy. You speak your future into existence by the way you think and feel about yourself. Imagination is not restricted by circumstance. It does not need resources, permission, support, or evidence. The unseen world moves first, and the physical world follows. To imagine means to claim power over reality before reality changes. That is why imagination feels so divine, because it is. It is the one place where you are limitless, where you decide the narrative without interference. Imagination is your true reality, and the world is its echo. When you dare to imagine boldly, beyond logic, beyond the evidence of the senses, you shift your entire life toward abundance. To imagine is to create a pattern for life to follow. Every assumption becomes a mold that the outer world must fill. If you assume wealth, you start to behave, speak, and move like someone who is wealthy. That energy reshapes your opportunities. People respond differently to someone who is living from the end result. The world senses conviction. Imagination backed by belief produces miracles that cannot be explained by common logic. You were never meant to live as a spectator of reality. You were meant to be its architect. Imagination is the blueprint of your destiny. What you dare to picture in the mind, you will eventually hold in your hand. The invisible shapes the visible. When you understand this, you stop asking, how will it come? And instead say, it already exists, and it's coming to me now. Desire is a divine signal, a message from the unseen that something already belongs to you in another dimension of reality. The thing you long for is not a random thought or a fleeting wish. It is a memory whispered from the future, a reminder of what is already yours in the invisible realm. Desire does not come to you from outside. It rises from within, from the deepest part of your being that knows what you are meant to experience. When you feel a powerful longing for something, love, success, freedom, abundance, it is not because you lack it, but because you are being called to claim it. Every desire is a clue from your higher consciousness. It points toward the path your life is preparing to take. When you desire something, it is the universe saying, "This is possible for you. This is aligned with who you are becoming." If a desire were not meant for you, it would not echo so strongly inside your imagination. You cannot desire what is not yours in potential. You cannot crave a future that has no roots in your destiny. Desire is the evidence of possession, not the evidence of absence. You want it because it is already yours in a deeper sense. Most people misunderstand desire. They believe wanting something means they are incomplete. But desire is actually a sign of completion, the completion that exists in the unseen. You are drawn to experiences that match your truest identity. When your heart speaks, it is revealing the shape of your future self. Desire is the bridge between who you are now and who you are meant to become. It is the internal pull toward a reality that has already taken form in imagination. When you honor your desire, you honor the divine intelligence within you. The greatest tragedies occur when people silence their desires because of fear or logic. They convince themselves that what they want is too big, too unrealistic, too far away. Yet desire does not need logic. It needs belief. The very fact that you can see it in the mind means it exists. The invisible is the blueprint. The physical is the result. Reality is always built backward. First the dream, then the manifestation. Desire is a conversation between you and the unseen world. It calls you forward, step by step, thought by thought. It is the internal compass pointing toward your destiny. When you ignore desire, you wither spiritually. When you embrace desire, you awaken your creative power. Every dream that changed the world once began as a desire that someone trusted more than their doubts. The energy of desire is sacred. It carries life, movement, and transformation. When you feel desire, you are not asking for something new. You are remembering something eternal. You are reconnecting with the version of you that already lives that reality. In another dimension, the desire is fulfilled. The joy is already felt. The celebration has already happened. Your work in this world is simply to align your thoughts, feelings, and faith with what you have already received in spirit. Desire is not a signal of lack. It is the announcement of abundance. It is the universe saying, "You are ready." It is the divine declaring, "Your time has come." When you understand this, you stop chasing your desires and begin welcoming them. You stop asking for proof and start living from the certainty that what you want is already yours. Life from the end means to enter the state of your desired outcome before the physical world gives you any sign of success. It is the art of becoming the person who has already achieved the victory you seek. Instead of waiting for circumstances to change before feeling confident, worthy, or fulfilled, you claim those feelings now and let life adjust to the identity you have already accepted. When you live from the end, you are not pretending or forcing anything. You are aligning with the deeper truth that your inner reality creates your outer world. Most people live from the middle. They desire success, but they continue to think and act like someone who is waiting for it. They wait for the achievement before they allow themselves to feel accomplished. They wait for the relationship before they feel loved. They wait for the opportunity before they feel valuable. Living from the end reverses this entire dynamic. It asks you to step into the identity of the person who has already arrived. The inner saturation of the end result is what magnetizes all the steps needed to bring it into form. To live from the end is to treat the desired outcome as a done deal. You close your eyes and step into the scene where your victory is already complete. You feel the joy of it being finished, the gratitude of it being yours, the ease of being someone who no longer seeks the outcome because it has already happened. That feeling is the seed of creation. It is the emotional signature that calls the invisible into the visible. When you hold that state consistently, the world reorganizes itself to match it. Living from the end is not about external action alone. It is about internal conviction. The person who has already won carries a different energy. They walk differently, talk differently, make decisions differently. They are not controlled by fear, doubt, or desperation. They operate from certainty. When you adopt that certainty now, your actions become powerful, not because you are trying to win, but because you already are the winner. The victory is in your identity, and life reflects identity with precision. So there is a certain MCA. If you want wealth, think and feel like someone who is financially free, not someday, but now. If you want love, feel deeply loved within and express that love in your thoughts and actions. If you want success, begin thinking like someone who is already successful. Ask yourself, how would the version of me who has already achieved this goal think? How would they speak? How would they show up in the world? And then become that version today. Living from the end is powerful because it bypasses resistance. When you try to create from lack, every action is heavy and uncertain. You are trying to climb towards something that feels far away. But when you live from the end, the goal is already behind you. You move with ease, clarity, and natural confidence. Your mind no longer asks, will this work? It says, this has already worked. I'm just walking the path toward what I know is mine. When you adopt the logic of already having your desire, the world cannot help but mirror that belief. You are no longer chasing success, you are embodying it. And embodiment is the most powerful force of manifestation. You stop trying to prove anything to the world, because the world is now proving your belief. The end is the beginning. Creation starts where completion has already happened. When you live from the end, you dissolve time, shorten the journey, and step directly into the reality that once felt distant. You become the person who has already won, and life has no choice but to give you the victory you have already claimed. Assumption creates expansion because your inner certainty shapes the limits of your experience. To assume the result now means to embody the belief that what you desire is already yours, even before any physical evidence appears. In this state, you are not begging life to give you something in the future. You are accepting that it already exists in the unseen and choosing to identify with it now. When you make this assumption, the foundation of your thinking, the world around you begins to reorganize itself in ways you cannot predict or control. The rearrangement is not forced through effort. It unfolds naturally through the power of identity. Assumption is more than a thought. It is a position of consciousness. It is a self-concept. When you assume something to be true, you begin to operate from that truth automatically. Your choices align with it, your emotions reflect it, and your worldview shifts to support it. If you assume that you are worthy of abundance, opportunities that were once invisible begin to show themselves. If you assume that you are loved, you radiate a confidence that attracts more love. The assumption becomes a magnet, pulling the external world toward the internal vision you have chosen. People often misunderstand the creative power of assumption. They wait for results before adopting a new identity. They want the world to change first so that they can feel secure. But creation does not work that way. If you want to experience expansion in life, you must expand inwardly first. The world reflects your assumptions, not your hopes. It reflects what you accept as real, not what you are trying to convince yourself of. Once you truly assume your desire, the struggle disappears because you're no longer trying to make something happen. You are living from the certainty that it already has. Assumption is the opposite of doubt. Doubt contracts reality. It closes possibilities, narrows your vision, and locks you into a small experience of life. When you doubt, you are assuming that the result will not happen, and life faithfully mirrors that assumption. The mind is always assuming something, whether consciously or unconsciously. Every belief, fear, or expectation is an assumption about what is possible for you. The difference between stagnation and expansion lies in choosing assumptions that empower you rather than limit you. Assuming the result now means to behave as though the process is already finished. You walk with the confidence of someone who has already received what they once prayed for. You speak to yourself in ways that reflect achievement rather than absence. You don't force outcomes, you allow them. You don't chase evidence, you create it by embodying belief. This state is not delusion, it is alignment with the deeper truth that the unseen becomes seen through conviction. Assumption expands your reality because it alters your perception. What once felt impossible begins to feel natural. Ideas flow more freely, solutions appear effortlessly. Challenges that used to intimidate you now feel like minor steps on a path that is already guaranteed. You stop reacting to life as a victim of circumstance and start responding as the creator of your experience. The invisible structure of reality shifts the moment your assumption changes, because reality is an echo of the inner state you occupy. When you assume the result now, you step into a higher version of yourself, the version who is connected to the future you desire. You are no longer waiting for the world to catch up, the world is catching up to you. That is why assumption creates expansion. It stretches your awareness beyond your current circumstances and invites the universe to match your conviction. The world bends around your belief because belief is the script life follows. Your inner speech is destiny because the words you speak inside yourself shape your identity, and your identity shapes your reality. Every day you hold silent conversations within your mind about who you are, what you can achieve, and what life will give you. These conversations are not harmless thoughts drifting through awareness. They are the blueprint of your experience. The way you speak to yourself becomes the way life responds to you. Your inner speech is the origin of your confidence or your fear, your courage or your hesitation. It is the script you hand to the world saying, "This is who I am. Treat me accordingly." Within the privacy of your mind, you are constantly creating. When you think of success, do you speak as someone who is capable, worthy, and destined to win? Or do you speak as someone who doubts their value? When you imagine opportunities, do you say, "I can do this"? Or do you tell yourself, "It's too difficult for me"? The world takes its cue from your inner dialogue. If your inner speech is full of limitation, the world will mirror limitation. If your inner speech is filled with possibilities, the world will open itself to you. Every breakthrough begins with a sentence spoken inside yourself, long before it shows up in the physical world. Most people allow their inner speech to run unconsciously. Old memories, fears, and disappointments shape the tone of their thoughts. They repeat the voice of the past, instead of the voice of their desire. They don't realize that they are reinforcing the same identity that created their past struggles. But when you consciously change your inner speech, you change your point of attraction. You speak from the future instead of the past. You speak from your potential instead of your pain. That shift is transformational because your internal voice is the seed from which action, emotion, and results grow. The words you speak to yourself in silence create your emotional state. If your inner speech is full of confidence, your body reflects it. You walk stronger, your decisions become sharper, your mind looks for solutions instead of problems. If your inner speech is full of doubt, your body reacts the same way. You shrink, you hesitate, you settle. Your inner conversations influence the way you perceive the world. If you tell yourself that success is natural for you, the world begins to look like a place full of opportunities. If your inner dialogue tells you that everything is hard, the world becomes a struggle. This speech is not only about positive thinking, it is about authority. It is about speaking within yourself with the certainty that your words have power. When you declare greatness within, you activate a different version of yourself. When you affirm your capabilities, you unlock energy you didn't know you had. The most successful people are not those who never face doubt, but those who replace the voice of doubt with a voice of belief. They wrote a new script inside themselves and watched life follow that script. Your inner voice shapes what you expect from the world, and expectation is destiny. If you expect doors to open, you approach life with a confidence that makes those doors open. If you expect rejection, you approach life defensively and unintentionally create the rejection you fear. Expectation is the unconscious command you give to reality, and it is formed through the words you repeat internally. When you choose your inner speech with intention, you step into creative power. You begin to speak to yourself as a winner, as someone chosen for greatness, as someone capable of remarkable things. You speak of success not as a dream, but as a fact. That simple shift rewrites your entire reality. Your inner speech is destiny, because it is the foundation of every choice you make and every opportunity you create. The world does not shape your speech. Your speech shapes the world you experience. Speak within yourself the words you want life to echo, and life will follow. Faith is the bridge from the invisible to the visible because it connects the world of imagination with the world of physical experience. Everything you hope to see, touch, or hold must first exist as an inner certainty. Faith is not blind hope. It is the deep knowing that what you desire already exists in potential and is on its way into form. When belief becomes reality in your inner world, life has no choice but to shape itself around that conviction. Faith is the power that turns thoughts into things, dreams into outcomes, and desires into evidence. To have faith is to see beyond the senses. The eyes can only show you what already exists, but faith shows you what is becoming. The physical world is always a step behind your inner world. What you feel and believe today becomes the experience you live tomorrow. Faith allows you to act as if your desire is already complete, even when the circumstances appear unchanged. That inner certainty is the force that activates unseen energies working in your favor. When you walk with faith, you stop reacting to what is missing and start responding to what is coming. Faith is not passive. It is not simply waiting for something to happen. Real faith is active creation. It is the moment you claim the result as if it is already yours. You move differently, speak differently, think differently. Instead of begging life for proof, you carry yourself as the proof. You become the outcome before it arrives. When belief transforms into identity, manifestation becomes inevitable. The world cannot contradict the belief you hold with unwavering confidence. It must align with it or dissolve before it. Life bows to conviction. Weak belief creates weak results. Strong belief creates strong outcomes. When your faith becomes the foundation of your worldview, every obstacle looks temporary. You no longer question whether your desire is possible. You see it as guaranteed. That level of faith is magnetic. It draws opportunities, people, ideas, and timing into alignment. It removes resistance and places you in the flow of creation. You stop forcing outcomes and begin allowing them. Faith is the refusal to be moved by appearances. You may look around and see no evidence of your desire, yet faith lets you celebrate as though it is already done. That celebration is not foolish, it is creative. It signals to the unseen that the manifestation is recognized and welcomed. The feeling of completion invites the physical completion. The universe responds to your emotional state, not your words alone. Faith is emotion anchored in truth, deeper than logic. When belief becomes reality inside you, the outside world reflects it in surprising ways. A phone call from a stranger, a door that suddenly opens, a solution that appears effortlessly. These are the expressions of the unseen responding to conviction. Faith is the bridge that allows those miracles to cross from imagination into experience. It is the invisible path your desire walks to reach your hands. Most people wait for evidence before they believe, but manifestation requires belief before evidence. Faith flips the process. It says, I know it's mine, and the proof will follow. When you live this way, you become unstoppable. Circumstances no longer define you. Doubt cannot shake you. Time does not fear you. You walk in the certainty that the invisible is more real than the visible, because the visible is only the final expression of what you already claimed in spirit. Faith is the bridge, because it connects the unseen power of imagination with the physical world you live in. When your belief becomes your reality, life bends to your certainty. It delivers what you have claimed, not because you begged for it, but because you became it. In the end, every change you seek begins within you. Imagination plants the seed, desire reveals what is already yours. Living from the end aligns your identity with your destiny. Assumption expands your reality. Inner speech writes the script of your life, and faith builds the bridge from the invisible into the visible. Nothing outside has the final say. Your inner world is the source of every outward victory. When you dare to believe, before the world agrees, life responds to your conviction.